Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds, and it's time for Commander Tune-Ups.
This time, Chris's Muldrotha self-mill.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. Every single day there's a new video. This is one of those days. If you want to support the days and us and the videos, you can go to patreon.com. There's a link in the description.
Yes, and you can use that link to support us directly and scroll on screen with the rest of our patrons. We also have a TCG Player affiliate link.
Ooh.
Go there, click the link. As long as you start with the link, you'll buy the cards at the same exact prices, but you support the NN channel.
And the exact same thing is true for Dragon Shield. Go to dragonshield.com. There's an EU or US link in the description, and they got the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
Over there, so pick whatever's best for you and know that you're supporting the channel at the exact same time. This channel also supported by Maraschiello, the sponsor. You will not be able to predict where the mid-roll ad is.
It's somewhere in the video. We promise you that, but you don't know where. Happy birthday to everyone whose birthday is today. If you're watching this video, happy birthday. And BZ, what's the final thing?
Also, the most random of shoutouts, Hudson, congratulations on your grade 8 graduation.
Woo!
Give some thumbs up emojis for Hudson in the chat.
Yeah. What's the opposite of an F in chat?
Thumbs up emoji?
Do the opposite of the F in chat for Hudson.
Exactly.
All right. So, Commander Tune-Ups. Well, first question we got to ask, what is a Commander Tune-Up? Well, I'll tell you what a Commander Tune-Up is, Joe. Oh. It is where we take your patron submitter deck and under your restrictions, no matter what they are, we make the deck bigger, better, faster, and stronger. We upgrade it, or, for lack of a better term, tune it up.
Yes.
So, the restrictions for this deck are $200 budget, keep the self-mill and the graveyard theme. Not going to be hard. We're working with Muldrotha. And if you don't know Muldrotha, she is... BZ, give it a read.
3 black, green, blue. 6/6. During each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a permanent spell of each permanent type from your graveyard.
Pretty simple. We're going to put a ton of permanents into our graveyard and just start casting them over and over again each turn to get value. So first thing we have to do is we have to go over some of the best cards in the deck so you understand this deck came in with and what it was doing. I mean, this one's always one of the best cards in every graveyard deck. Living Death, we're going to self-mill ourselves to the point of maybe not even having a deck. So Living Death, going to put everything from our graveyard onto the battlefield. Just going to be a win condition in this deck. Actually, something I left off of here, so it's going to be the 6 best cards in the deck. Thoracle and Jace, what's his name?
Wielder of Mysteries.
Wielder of Mysteries. Win kinds. We're a self-mill deck. We're often, if we grind the game long enough, we will be able to just get to a point where we can just go, okay, let's just win with Thoracle. Let's just win with Jace.
I love the thought of, like, my deck is the progress bar of how close I am to winning, and you better start doing something about it.
Now the Amber's out of the way, we can address the next card on this list. It's Sir Conrad the Grim. Self-milling, we're going to be putting tons of creatures into our graveyard, and every single one we're casting from our graveyard also going to trigger Sir Conrad, another win con.
Whenever we mill, they take damage, and whenever we cast them, they take damage. And there's even things in here like mini shout-out to Perpetual Timepiece, which can put cards in the graveyard, trigger, but then remove them all at once. Same with Living Death, where it's like, uh-oh, take 1,000.
Yeah, it'll just be a win. Sometimes Sir Conrad's on the battlefield, the board wipe goes off. I mean, how is everyone not dead?
Yeah, exactly.
The KSC and Hollow, this card is bonkers, over the top. It doesn't matter basically what deck it's in. If he's in your deck, he's probably one of the best cards in your deck. If there's any aristocrat-y type theme at all, which this has a mini aristocrat type theme, then the card's amazing.
Yeah, oh look, it's Altar of Dementia. Well, we really don't need to mill anybody except ourselves because we got the I win buttons on standby. So if we get 100 power, or let's say 80 power at all, cumulatively, in an entire game, we win.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty simple.
This is one of the best cards ever. I love this card.
Yeah, and it doubles as, let's just say by chance your 2 win cons are gone, it doubles as a way to win by milling your opponents out now.
Yeah, you have like Macias in play, and then you just start spewing out creatures the most power and toughness you can from your graveyard, or you get a Living Death or something, and it's like mill 100, mill 100, mill 100.
I would be shocked. Now, I'm not positive that if there wasn't a combo or two. In fact, there's Nether Trader, there's Altar, Phyrexian Altar.
Well, yeah, there's not Phyrexian Altar, it's Pitiless Plunderer.
Pitiless Plunderer. So we're close here. I mean, if this deck doesn't have an infinite combo, I would be absolutely shocked.
Macias, Nether Trader, Pitiless Plunderer, and I think anything is...
It's there. Find it. Find the combo. It's in the deck. I
think
promise.
That's there. Also, super big MVP, the dredge cards. We got Golgari, Grave Troll, Stinkweed Imp, Golgari Thug, and
land, Deckmore Salvage,
and Light from the Loam, all pulling super heavy-duty mill. Whenever we're going to draw, we're just going to dredge instead. So it's kind of like 0 mana, mill 3, 4, 5, 6, and we got some real sweet combos coming up with those.
Yeah, I mean, dredge is going to be the main way to mill in this deck. Like, we're going to put a dredge card in our graveyard, and we're going to keep putting it back into our graveyard over and over and over again. And every draw, going to be a dredge instead. And because of Muldrotha, it's basically like, if we dredge five, we draw 5. Yeah.
I think that's good.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, very much is. Okay. So now the next part is the changes. Everything is basically 1 for 1 out of the deck. So one thing comes out, one thing goes in. We have little categories sort of here. Some of them are more miscellaneous, but for the start here, it's all self-mill. First we had Vessel of, this is such a weird word.
It's Paramnesia.
Paramnesia. It just wasn't good enough. We could have also added Vessel of Nascency here if we wanted to, but we were like, we can just do better with something like a Doom Whisper. This card overperforms at every corner I see it. It basically says pay 2 life, mill 2, but it's actually better than that because if you see something in your top cards that you want, leave it on top. Wow. How good is this card?
Yeah, this is a card that you might not, like, they can't really let you, they can't let it survive for you to plan ahead enough because you'll just win. Like, they pass and you get to do the end step right before your turn. You're like, all right, I'll mill 30 cards.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to win now.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, they need to, like, actually start attacking your life total because if your life total is not attacked, you're just going to be able to mill yourself out very, very quickly.
I think this thing flies under the radar.
It does.
They always go, there's no way they're going to pay 30 life. It's like, uh-oh, watch out.
I will pay 30 life.
This deck will.
In my self-mill deck, gladly pay 30 life. Let me get right on that. Next, Skull Prophet, which was ramp/mill. Well, we can do better for ramp/mill. How about Shigeki Jukai Visionary? This will mill us more, and it will ramp us at the same time. Skull Prophet's like, I do one or I do the other. No. Shigeki's like, allow me, I will do both.
While being an enchantment.
Yes, I was just going to say, while being an enchantment. So it's just another type. So when we want to cast an enchantment from our graveyard, guess what? We have a ton of creatures. We're always going to have the creature. Shigeki can be the enchantment.
And this is the slam dunk, too, because with Muldrotha, you can play it from your graveyard, then it comes back to your hand, then you can go, all right, get back Thoracle, get back Living Death, and we're just going to have so much fun all over again.
I'm going to start putting the Tim Allen sounds in this video. Yeah, so this is the, every deck that comes into us has a, no, you don't have to make it.
Oh.
The sound's going to be, we'll
Sorry,
have
Tim.
the sound. Tim Allen's big old face will be right here.
We're getting DMCA'd by Tim Allen.
We're going to get DMCA'd by Tim Allen. We're going to hear that sound. But yeah, honestly, it's the
Oh, the card we don't understand. I wasn't even sure what you were talking about.
Yes, it's the card we don't understand. It's the deck. This is Elixir of Immortality. We want to self-mill.
Yeah.
We want to run out of cards because that's one of our win cons.
Yes.
So Elixir of Immortality, that saves us from that? No, thank you. Get out of here, Elixir of Immortality. And in its place, we put in something that's actually good at self-milling, Ashiok Dream Render. I love that this card both just hates out your opponent's graveyard and can self-mill you. You put 4 cards in your graveyard, 4 fresh new ones. You have a Planeswalker that needs to be attacked down. Yeah, it'll die a lot of time. We don't care. Muldrotha's recasting this thing, and it's randomly tutor hate. There's just so much here, and it's just a perfect card for this deck.
One of the things that you'll see tutored for a lot is graveyard hate. Not here, not with this out. You're going to have to attack it first. And if we got defenses, all our little dummy chump blockers, it might be a little difficult. I want to say Elixir of Immortality, way different than Perpetual Timepiece. Timepiece mills you. That's what it does. And then if in some kind of emergency, you can shuffle not all, but whatever you want back into your deck.
Yeah. Next, Grizzly Salvage out of here. I mean, Grizzly Salvage, fine card.
Not permanent.
But we can make it a permanent. Yeah. Literally, it's super close to Sado Wayfinder. Sado Wayfinder only gets lands over creatures that Grizzly Salvage can get, but that's fine. It's a creature itself. It's improving our creature count, our permanent count. We're in.
It mills us one less card, but we get to repeatedly do it. Dead Bridge Chant. Never been a Dead Bridge Chant fan. It mills 10, but it's 6 mana. A little clunky. I like Bloodghast because since we're milling, it's going to be in the graveyard even more often than usual. This is like a nice little bit of utility to have. Every Altar of Dementia, every Pitiless Plunder, every Mikaeus, whatever, things we have, this thing just comes out once or twice a turn and is just an enters trigger and a death trigger. And it just adds up over the game, and this card's great.
So let me just ponder something about Dead Bridge Chant for a second. Say you have Dead Bridge Chant on the battlefield, and you mill 10. That's 6 mana mill 10. That's not that good. So now we have to rely on its other ability to start making up that cost, and its other ability is at random. For starters, if Muldrotha's on the battlefield and you return the thing you were going to cast from your graveyard, it didn't do anything. It essentially had no effect whatsoever. So Dead Bridge Chant is not the card for this deck. I get it. It is a lot But like if you want to mill yourself 10, we didn't.
You saw Doom Whisperer, right?
Well, you Doom Whisperer, but you could add the Jace that zeros to mill 10 if you really want mill 10.
Yeah, at least that's repeatable. This is just kind of, it sticks in play. I don't care about the random part. We have like 40 something creatures. Half of them are Bloodghast type things. I don't want Bloodghast.
There's a lot of poopy things that you just don't want back at the time. The power of Muldrotha is selecting the best thing in your graveyard for the situation you're in.
Next, we got Lord of the Forsaken coming out. I like this card so much, but I feel like this deck's a little too lean and mean for this. We don't really need to do this, so it's kind of coming out.
It's clunky. It's 6 mana. It's just not quite what we need in place. Nether Trader, another thing that we can, when we mill over it, it's essentially like drawing it because we can bring it back from our graveyard to the battlefield.
And we got plenty of ways to take advantage of it. You'll see. Altar of Dementia is already one that we've shown. Angel of Suffering, I don't know how we're going to be dealt damage. I was looking at this and I wanted to keep it in. I just don't see how we're supposed to damage ourselves. And they're not going to do it for us.
I do not like this card. I mean, I graded it enough, and people have talked to me about it saying, like, no, I really like this card. I think it's good. But it's like, it does one of two things. It will prevent you from being attacked. People are like, yeah, that's a good thing. It's like, it's not that strong. I don't really want to prevent myself from being attacked.
You'd rather be attacked.
Yeah, you want to be attacked in this case, but no one's going to attack you unless it's lethal. So Angel of Suffering, really just not a card I'm interested in.
Oh, and, like, if you don't have a Jace out, which is not guaranteed because it's attackable, you don't want to take all the damage, then you have no library and you go to draw and you lose.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it's very good. Next, but in its place, Dread Return, another card we just want to mill over. Also, super important for our like hyper mill. So if we're gonna if we can get one of those turns where we mill our whole deck, maybe we hit our Thoracle and Jace. It's like, oh, neither of them are in our hand. But Dread Return says 0 mana, get back Thoracle, win the game.
Oh, what creatures are we gonna sacrifice? Well, Bloodghast and Nether Trader are like right there for us. As even if we have almost nothing, they're going to be there for almost free.
Yeah, it like literally doesn't matter what you sacrifice. You can sacrifice your Muldrotha at that point.
Well,
you're winning.
You need 3 was my main point, and that's going to help us get 3.
Well, what I was saying is like it doesn't matter if you have Muldrotha, Machias, and like something else big. It's like who cares? Just sacrifice them. You're winning now.
Old Stick Fingers is coming out. I don't think this is actually as much mill as it looks like. I'd rather Unmarked Grave, find exactly what I want. I'm going to put Golgari Grave Troll in there and mill 1,000 with it.
Yeah, exactly. Old Stick Fingers, it's a fine card, but I'm not super happy. Unmarked Grave, we wanted Entomb. This deck wants Entomb. If you have an extra $30, $40 in budget laying around, go get Entomb. But, Unmarked Grave, going to do the job.
You'll barely notice.
You will barely notice.
Ren and 7, this is like, I'd rather play Jace that mills 10, and this just was a little clunky, and everything the numbers didn't really line up. This is a little slow for what this deck's doing, especially since we tuned it up. And this card, this is my favorite ad, I think. Drowned Rusalka, you pay a blue, and you sacrifice a creature, and you discard a card and draw a card. And now the plan is, we're going to put Golgari Grave Troll in our graveyard. So every time we pay a blue mana and sacrifice one of these dummies, Nether Trader, Satyr Wayfinder, Bloodghast, we just mill 6 cards. And then we get to do it again and again and again. So it's blue, mill 6 cards.
Yeah, exactly. So you put any one of your dredge creatures into your yard and you just start churning by sacrificing all your worthless dummies. Pretty simple. I mean, that's going to be a turbo win count. This card's going to need an answer.
They're just going to win. They can't stop you. I mean, even if they go, oh shoot, this is a problem. It's like, I'll mill 49 cards. It's done. You can't stop that.
Now, this deck had in it Kenra's Transformation, which I am a fan of because it draws a card on entry and a lot of things in the battlefield. Not a fan of these other 2 that we cut, which was Mina's Transformation, which turns into Frog but doesn't draw a card. I'm not a huge fan of that. Replaced it with Song of the Dryads, which instead of turning it into a frog,
shut it down.
Let's turn it into a forest and really lock on the battlefield. That thing is going nowhere. And if it does end up getting answered, we can still cast it from a graveyard because it's an enchantment. Frogify, also out. We don't want to turn the thing into a frog. 2 frog cards, but we do want Seal of Primordium, where it's 2 mana, cast it, it's naturalized, it stays on the battlefield.
I like the threat of activation a little bit. It's not worth a ton, but it adds a little extra wrench into things. When you're like, I'm just going to blow that up if you use it against me.
You're never playing this over naturalized, right?
No.
This card's not very good, unless the permanent type is super relevant in a deck like this, like where you care about, like if your deck cares about enchantments, this deck does, then it is a good card.
Yeah, when you get to play it, there's some extra bonuses. Acidic Slime, we hate this card. I think it stinks. Foundation Breaker, though, we can invoke it for 2, we can play it for 4. All of those sound better than Acidic Slime, so all day.
It's literally such a big increase in strength to the deck. Like, it's a 2 mana to evoke this, so you can just use it as a naturalize if you need to, or you can get the creature if you need a chump blocker for whatever reason.
If you are like so desperate for land hate, throw a Ghost Quarter in your land slot. Muldrotha can replay it. That's already just way faster and easier.
All right, never been a big fan of Archfane of Depravity. I get it. It does a little bit of something. Meh. But I am a big fan of Plaguecrafter. any deck that's recursive and using its graveyard over and over again, Playcrafter is a go-to card for keeping your opponents down. It is a 3-for-1 every single time. Sure, you're losing your Playcrafter. You never cared about that thing in the first place. And it's easily recurable.
Oh, man. I want to call this thing better Shield Dread whenever I see it now. Seal of Removal. It's like Seal of Primordium, except unsummon? No, I'm not really interested. But Pernicious Deed blows everything up, and it's scalable, so we can keep Muldrotha alive, blow up all the stupid mana rocks, tokens, and then just replay it again and lock down the board.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be extremely annoying. They're going to be forced to answer your graveyard because they're not going to be able to advance their board state until Pernicious Deed is out of your graveyard.
Yep.
We cut Mirror Maid. Just wasn't a huge fan of this. Going forward now, this little section here is our ramp. The deck essentially had 3 ramp spells. It was not very much. That is where this deck was lacking. This deck needed ramp, so
we got you, Chris.
We're taking out some stuff. Mirror Maid, one of them, not a card we're super excited for. In its place, Sakura Tri-Battler, just staple ramp, sacrifices itself as well.
Varragoth, Blood Sky Sire. I really don't like this card at all.
Wait. Hold on, BZ. You must be thinking about it wrong. This is 5 mana over
2 turns.
2 turns, and when you get the attack, and it probably dies, but maybe it lives.
Right.
And then you tutor a card.
Yeah.
To the top of your library.
Wow.
You must be thinking about it wrong.
That's, now that I think about it that way, I'm going to play Wild Growth instead and be able to cast it from my graveyard, break even on mana the first turn, and then just profit every turn for the rest of the game. That sounds a little bit better.
It's a lot better. Gerard's Orders, cut that. It's
already way better than Varragoth. Because it goes right to your hand for 4 mana, and you get a Grave Troll in your graveyard.
Yeah, the Gerard's Orders is fine. I don't think it's a bad card, but it's, again, we're greasing it up. We're getting this thing more efficient.
We need ramp.
We're turning the wheels. We're going to be doing it better. We need ramp. Utopia Sprawl. These have become some of my favorite ramp spells in all of Green. Utopia Sprawl, Wild Growth.
They're great.
Make sure you have something important about Utopia Spell, make sure your forest count is up. It only enchants 4s, but we have a high enough forest count, I believe.
Yeah, Protean Hulk actually got cut from this deck. I don't think I'm ever going to say that again, but there's no combos with it, and even putting a combo in would kind of undermine the whole point of this being a self-mill deck. So I think the best thing to do is just cut it, because it's not doing anybody any good, and we're going to play Deathrite Shaman instead, because we always, even though this isn't like a fetch dual land deck, we got self-mill. We're going to always have lands in our graveyard. Deathrite's great.
So I think about this all the time. Protean Hulk is 7 mana to get 6 or less value-wise. If you're not comboing, I do not like Protean Hulk.
Right, we have nothing potent to get. I don't think there's no point.
Agreed. So more ramp. Buried Alive, good card, even sort of works in this deck, but we needed one last cut, and the lack of ramp just made it so we had to cut it.
It really was the last cut.
It was the last cut, and it was the lack of ramp. We put in its place Wood Elves, another creature. It just enters and it ramps. That's what we need. We need creatures that enter and ramp.
It's not flashy, but we don't need 1,000 tutors. There's still some in the deck. We already have Unmarked Grave, and there's all this other stuff going on. We'll be okay.
You know, it's not a permanent.
Dig Through Time.
Yes, it is not a permanent. It's a fine card. It's even a strong card, but we want more permanents, so again, we need more ramp. Spring Bloom Druid is our next ad. Just another thing, just like Wood Elves. Sacrifice a land, go get 2 more lands.
And after we cut Persist in favor of Reanimate, that we just saved a mana.
Yeah, that was just like an easy upgrade. We had the budget, so Persist is a fine card, but Reanimate obviously a much better card.
There's not even anything to say. It's just strictly better.
It's a much better card. Kaya's Ghost Form, cute, maybe good, but I'm not on it. I'm out of here. I'm off it. This deck was lacking the Blood Artist effect, so we added Blood Artist.
I think I finally figured out the thing with Kaya's Ghost Form. You're supposed to pay black, put it on Muldrotha, then you sack it. It comes back as a new Muldrotha, and you can just replay it for 1. But that's only really good with Altar of Dementia in our self-mill plan.
I guess if
other than that, I don't know.
If you have Phyrexian Altar, that's an infinite combo, right?
Phyrexian Altar is not in this deck still.
Yeah,
still is not.
No. I'm saying if a deck has it, it's better. But I guess this was a combo with the Grim.
Pitiless Plunderer?
Pitiless Plunderer, which I can never remember the name of.
I kind of like taking it out then. I think if we're going self-mill, we got to commit, right?
Yeah, if you want to go back to the combo, put Kaya's Ghost Form back. And I actually didn't think about that. That's a good point. Carrion
Feeder, usually a card we don't cut, but this deck had a couple sack outlets. We already have some of the other better ones.
2 altars and Viscerous here.
And Plague Resolka, so I think Carrion Feeder can go away. We're not super aristocratic, but we're going to add Bastion of Remembrance. I like the enchantment type.
Yep.
I like the body, and it's just going to be some residual life gain, help us survive until we destroy everybody.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that it's an enchantment is why I added it over Zulaport Cutthroat. We're not super aristocrat-y, so we'll take the same effect on an enchantment because we want to have our creatures count really high. Enchantment's a little lower, so any chance to get an enchantment is worth it.
I might have just not put in aristocrat cards at all, but that's the power of the Nitpicking Nerds combo.
Yeah, I just feel like you always want them in these graveyard decks. I feel like they add quite a bit of flavor.
What about Tassiger the Golden Fang? How flavorful is that?
It's fine. It's a totally fine card, but it doesn't really do anything specifically.
It's self-mills, but it's so mana inefficient.
It's so mana inefficient, and the fact is we don't want to really exile too much from our graveyard. There's certain things we do, but not most of it.
I mean, we just don't care. I mean, 1 mana 4/5, that's fine. We have stupid fodder to exile that we're never going to play with Muldrotha.
We're just never activating this,
but
right?
we're never activating it.
If we're never activating it, then it's a 4/5 for 1, and that's terrible.
Right.
In its place, added Dryad of the Elysian Grove. I was actually thinking, this deck might be able to use extra land drops efficiently, so you can go land from your hand, land from your graveyard. That would be nice, but none of them seem to fit. This one had a little extra oomph in being an enchantment for your enchantment cast from your graveyard. And if I didn't say its name is Dryad of the Elysian Grove, which now that I've said it, I know I didn't say it before, so I'm really good at telling you what cards we're talking about.
A naked Dryad boy, if you will.
Yes.
We also cut one of the win conditions, Laboratory Maniac. This deck got real consistent. I think it's going to be really fast. And I think some people aren't going to like it. Too bad, because we're going to win games really consistently, so much so that I don't think we need Lab Man.
I think when you have Jace and you have Thoracle, you don't need Lab Man. It's like the third best option for that win con. It's just not necessary. I could even see a world where you cut Jace, but the Planeswalker type is very relevant for this deck because we can replay it from our graveyard even if it's getting attacked down over and over and over again.
I think what I would do, if you want a specific another win con, throw a Nexus of Fate, much more resilient, and that's going to be another slam dunk like Thoracle.
That felt, for me, like weird, not like what the deck wanted to do, but it is good.
It's just the long form version of I win right now.
Yeah. Dauthi Voidwalker is in the place of Lab Maniac, and I mean the card is. If you don't know, Dauthi is just a go-to card, and if there's all you need, like one, you don't need any extra reason to play it.
If there's any sliver.
There's a sliver of reason to play it, it's going in your deck. And this has extra synergy.
You can just cast multiple things with it.
Yeah, sacrifice it, cast whatever is under it, play it again.
I hate this stupid card. I hate it.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it is a hate piece, a Staxy type piece, and
it deals damage.
Incredibly strong. I mean, Dauthi Voidwalker just does it all.
I hate it. Now we're into the land territory. We got Dimir Aqueduct coming out 1-for-1. Command Beacon. Muldrotha loves Command Beacon because Muldrotha will never cost more than 6. You just sack the beacon, play Muldrotha, and then play the beacon.
Yes. So here with Dimir Aqueduct, so the next 4 cuts I'll just read in a row. Dimir Aqueduct, Golgari Rot Farm, Simic Growth Chamber, and Guildless Commons are all bounce lands. Now, if we were playing specifically Kodama of the East Tree, I could see being maybe some combo there.
Because Field of the Dead also in this deck.
Yeah, but we don't really have that going on. That doesn't seem to be this deck's theme, this deck's plan. So bounce lands are just not something we really want to be playing. So instead, in its place, BZ told you about Command Beacon. We also added Exotic Orchard. This is the easiest card for me to add to any deck. It's just it is almost always just an untapped duel every single time.
Yeah, it's an untapped tri-land in this case.
Sometimes, yeah.
Morphic Pool and Rejuvenating Springs also added. Funnily enough, Undergrowth Stadium was already in, so we added the other 2.
Yeah, exactly. So these are down enough that we definitely want to be getting them. Next for cuts, we cut Forest, Island, Snow-Covered Forest, Snow-Covered Island, Snow-Covered Island, and Snow-Covered Swamp. That's 6 basics. Out for, well, the Shockland Trifecta. Trifecta was the word I was looking for, BZ, and I found it, so stop trying to correct me. You're so snappy.
Drowned Catacomb, Woodland Cemetery, and Hinterland Harbor, the Checklands.
The Checkland Trifecta, if you will.
As you know, our budget was $200. We only spent $196.
Damn. We're good. We're so good. Who taught you how to say it? You were way out of sync.
I'm out of sync on purpose because it makes me feel original. Original average mana value, however, 3.27. Nothing wrong with that. But guess what? Now it's 2.84. We're faster. We're meaner. We're self-millier. And they can't stop us.
They can, but they won't.
They won't.
Total changes, 35 overall. This deck, I really like this deck. I mean, I like the idea of self-milling. Muldrotha, obviously one of the most popular commanders of all time for a reason. It's strong, it's fun, and it's a cool strategy that you can take in many different directions. I mean, what's cool about Muldrotha is it probably has on like a high power level, like 200 good cards to go in the deck. That's saying something because most commanders usually have like 100 to choose from. You got to cut a few. No, Muldrotha, you got lots of cuts to make because you can go in so many different directions.
This is, I feel like, a unique spin on Muldrotha also because the deck in no way needs to cast Muldrotha. That's just like a nice thing to do. We're self-milling, like turbo style. We're going to be empty library before anybody even knows what's happening. And I like that. This, I think, is the 84th Commander tune-up. Should we recommend people go see the Full Circle original tune-up, which was also Muldrotha?
Yes, you should go check out the original one. You are going to be amazed at how much the Nitpicking Nerds have
Brace
improved.
for impact.
Brace for impact. It is rough, I will tell you that. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.